What's up, my beater bros? Maine-iac here with Week 7 game picks for the NFL. Now, I am on a terrible roll. I tried to go bold last week and absolutely backfired. Now, how so? Let's go over it right here. New York lost to Philly. Washington beat Carolina. Seattle beat Oakland. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati. Houston did beat Buffalo, so that's good. Miami beat Chicago. Baltimore beat Tennessee. Dallas beat Jacksonville. So the only games I actually got right were Green Bay, New England, the Rams, Houston, the Chargers, Minnesota, New York, and Atlanta. That's 8. I went like 8-7 last week. That's unacceptable. It's a step towards 500, but I don't want a 500 season. Nobody wants a 500 season. I could probably pick at random and go 500. But I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to try to use my analytical sense and bounce back. I'm going to try to stop following my heart because my heart's leading me wrong. I'm going to go with the Broncos on the road against the Cardinals. It's the matchups tonight. Should be a good game. Von Miller and Bradley Chubb against that Cardinals offensive line and David Johnson. If the Cardinals are to win this, it's going to be David Johnson. The Broncos have given up a 200-yard rusher 2 games in a row. But I think Josh Rosen struggles in this one against the Broncos secondary. To me, they don't have enough weapons to exploit the Broncos. But their defense for the Cardinals could also win this game as well because they do have a pretty talented defense. And then we have the Titans at the Chargers. I'm picking the Chargers at home in this one. The Titans do boast a pretty solid defense and solid offense. Wide receivers for me are too inconsistent. I like the Chargers in this one. I like the matchup of Melvin Gordon and Eckler against the Titans defense. I'm not saying they have the advantage there. I'm just saying I want to watch that part of the game. Chargers defense with Derwin James should be good as well. Should be a fun game to watch. Titans could make it close, or they could have a repeat of last week against the Ravens. And you have the Bengals at the Chiefs. This one's very interesting as well. The Chiefs defense looks to be getting into form. I don't know if Justin Houston will be back. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one. But I think the Bengals with Joe Mixon could possibly exploit the Chiefs defense enough. The Chiefs, we know, boast a stellar offense. We've seen it last week against the Patriots. We've seen it all year. But their defense is their weak point. Can the Bengals exploit it with Tyler Boyd? Maybe the speed of John Ross. Although, in practice, the speed of John Ross might help them game plan a little bit better for Tyreek Hill. We'll see, but I'm still picking the Chiefs. They're at home, and Andy Reid is a great coach. And you got the Browns at the Bucks. This game is tough. Jameis Winston, Mike Evans, and Deshaun Jackson versus Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, and David Njoku. On the field, it's at home. For the Buccaneers, it's a home game. Browns have struggled a lot as of late, and what I mean by that is Baker Mayfield seems to float around 50%, which is never good, especially when you manage to have a turnover almost every game. But I think the Browns defense here wins this. I think they got exploited against the Chargers. I think they come back. Denzel Ward, I think, should have a good game. I believe he will be covering Deshaun Jackson, or at least if that was my pick, I'd have him covering Deshaun Jackson. And you have Panthers at the Eagles. This one's tough here. Panthers lost a close game to the Redskins, and the Eagles won a game against the Giants, but we all know the Giants are the Giants. The Eagles are at home here. They do have Carson Wentz, but is their defense clicking enough to be able to stop a mobile Cam Newton? That I do not know, but I'm going to go Eagles here because I think their secondary should make it competitive because I think they match up well against Funchess and the Panthers wide receivers. I don't know if Greg Olsen is coming back anytime soon. Hopefully he is. He's a fun tight end to watch. He might already be back. I'm often forgetful. I do apologize. And yeah, the Vikings at the Jets. I think the Vikings win this one. Sam Darnold's probably facing one of the toughest defenses he's faced yet. So this game, win or lose for the Jets, is probably going to be really good for Sam Darnold's development or his improvement. He's been playing really well. The defense has been playing really well. So this kind of test could vault them into possibly maybe contending next year. And you have the Lions at the Dolphins. This one's tough to predict. The Dolphins' defensive line, I believe, is still an issue the with the injuries. Facing a power back like LeGarrette Blount is never particularly easy. The secondary is great, matches up well against the wide receivers of Detroit. Matthew Stafford versus Brock Osweiler. The difference maker here is going to be, can the Detroit Lions defense avoid being so predictable like it was the last previous games where they lost. I'm going to pick the Lions on the road here. This is no slam against the Dolphins, but it's more against Brock Osweiler and his inconsistency. I don't think he's going to do enough to win this, although the wide receivers and running backs of the Dolphins could very well probably win this on their own by breaking plays, getting yards after the catch, yards after contact, and stuff like that. Should be a good game. Patriots, Bears. I'm going to pick the Patriots here. Now, one reason why that is I just believe Mitch Trubisky is going to struggle too much. I like the matchup for the Patriots defense against a Jordan Howard type running back who isn't necessarily two-dimensional. I like the matchup against Gilmore against Allen Robinson. I'm not saying Patriots advantage there. I just think that would be probably the matchup to watch in that one. Khalil Mack is going to wreak havoc, most likely, but he's going up against Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady can make some plays. I think Trubisky struggles. And I think the difference here is probably quarterback play. Should be a close game. Or hopefully it's a close game. I think probably 24-21 or something like that. And then you got Bills, Colts. This one is for sure interesting. I'm picking the Colts in this one. Now, I would often avoid picking the Colts because where they are so banged up. But in this one you have a guy who's literally coming off the street to start over your backup because your backup is absolutely fucking terrible, but you're keeping your backup on the roster anyway because you know he's terrible, but good enough to stick. Jaguars, Texans. This one's interesting, like it always is for me with divisional matchups. You have Blake Bortles in that Jaguars offense who seems to be struggling against the Texans defense with J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney. Now, one issue I believe for the Jaguars on the offensive line is, I believe, left tackle. I think that's why they signed Eric Flowers. The Texans could possibly exploit that matchup, and the secondary of the Texans does match up, I think, well against the receiving core of the Jaguars. So, I think that's kind of even there. As for the Texans offense, Jalen Ramsey and company against DeAndre Hopkins should be a good game. I think the difference here is going to be the pass rush. I think the offensive line of the Jaguars is going to struggle, but I think in the end, this is tough. I'm debating it in my head. This one is division matchups for me are so hard to predict. It could go either way. Like I've said before, I'm trying to weigh myself. Deshaun Watson's been turning the ball over lately. Blake Bortles was absolutely horrendous in that last game, and he's going up against possibly the best pair of pass rushers in the game. And you have this vaunted Jaguars defense who got whooped by the Cowboys. I'm going to pick the Texans in this one. Is it a little bit of an upset? Yes. Do I care? No. Picking the Redskins over the Cowboys, 49ers over the Rams, Falcons over the Giants. And the last game we have to pick is the Saints at the Ravens, and I'm picking the Saints. Now, if you're paying attention here, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game home split versus, I believe, 8 away picks. But this is just how I see the matchup rolling. Actually, do I really think the Jaguars are going to lose 3 games in a row? Do I really think that defense is going to stand for it? It's a tough one here. You know what? I'm going to switch picks. I'm switching picks. I'm picking Jaguars. I don't think the defense is going to struggle yet another week in a row. Should be an interesting week for sure. Hopefully you guys don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you like the video. I mean, it does help out the channel a lot. The channel is sinking fast and it kind of sucks. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you have a good week. Peace.